What up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. This is Fabian. I'm a transgender dude, and I am officially 1 year of testosterone. This is April the 24th. So I'm going to share my experience within this year. It's been quite a rocky road. So what I did is I actually tried to uh, make some stages that I'm going to explain. Yeah, so I'm going to explain them in stages just because it's been quite a lot of stuff going on that it's pretty hard to just talk about it all in one thing. That I've noticed it's kind of stages, so that's the way I'm going to share it. It might be different for other trans dudes. This is just the way that's the way that is. I mean, I think that's the way that changes are happening with me. So I guess everybody's different, right? Um, but yeah, so I hope everybody's staying safe out there, and I hope that um, COVID-19 didn't affect you. Um, Stay healthy. There's plenty of other things that we have to worry about, also, not just COVID-19. So don't let that distract you from all other things that are also as important as that. All right. So all right. So yeah. So with all these changes that I've experienced, my number one stage that I would think that was the most obvious thing that's been changing is the physical part. My eyebrows getting thicker, my eyes kind of dropping a little bit, my jawline shifting a little. Excuse me. Um, Muscle mass. I've noticed that my strength level kind of increased also. Uh, my muscles and my skin, my body just kind of feels a little tighter overall. Body fat distribution, and the most important thing is that no periods. No periods at all ever since I started my transition. And body hair in areas that you didn't have before. For example, near this area right here, um, near areas down here. It's just areas where I didn't really have body hair before. I somehow do now. And oh yeah, some of this content will be pretty sexual and pretty graphic, but I can't skip it. It is part of my transition. I hope you're all adult, or at least if you're someone that's going to start transitioning, it's pretty much the same thing you're gonna experience too, buddy. So here it goes. But clit growth, down there starts enlarging. So you start feeling like a slight tingly, pinching, pulling sensation down there. So yeah. So all of that stuff, it's obviously things that I've started experiencing as soon as I started taking testosterone, and it has progressively been increasing with those changes within this year. So that never stops. It keeps on changing and changing and changing. The number two stage that I've noticed in my transition is my crashing moments. There's those moments that kind of last between 2 to 3 days, I think, for me, or what I call also sometimes my growing moments. Um, my crashing moments are more because I was taking shots before. Not taking, I was injecting myself shots before every 2 weeks. And when you do that, your testosterone level goes up tremendously because you're injecting all this huge amount of testosterone, right? And you do it every 2 weeks. So as the weeks go by, as the days go by, and almost near your second week, the testosterone level starts to drop before it's time to inject yourself again with another dosage, and then you go back up again. And within that time period, where your testosterone level starts to kind of go back down, maybe not all the way to when you first started. It kind of goes down, you know. It starts kind of your body starts retaining more and more and more testosterone, so you don't go back down from the very beginning, but it starts going down then when you first put your shot. And your estrogen level, it seems like you start feeling a little battle between that. So your hormone levels kind of start getting a little bit shifted, and when you have that crashing moment, you start getting short tempered, Um, you start getting those mood swings and things like that, and it'll last me about 2, 3, maybe 4 days the most before I take my other shot, and then we go back at it again every 2 weeks. Um, what I call my growing moments, that I think that's the way I call it like that is because I started experiencing body aches, and I start getting lazy. I don't know where. I start getting tired. All I want to do is kind of just do nothing, lay down, sleep. Sometimes I think I even feel hot. I don't know, but after those 2, 3, 4 days, I also noticed some changes in my body. I start feeling better. I start feeling more energized again, and I start getting hungry for some reason. And I start noticing that my skin starts getting a little more firmer, feels a little more firm. I feel like I grew a little bit of my muscles, I stretched or something. I don't know, but this is just what I was noticing. So that's why I call stage number two my crashing moments and my growing moments. Stage number three for me is mainly my sex drive and my appetite. Again, this might be a little bit graphic. If you don't like it, I recommend you skip maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 seconds onto my video. But my sex drive goes up the roof. It goes up real high. So the reason for that is because your clit gets more sensitive, and all of the pressure or sensation goes down there. It also acts kind of like a little mini dick, I think, because it starts getting hard, and sometimes you wake up in the morning and it's a little hard, but whenever you get aroused, it just gets hard. And whenever you get aroused, also all the sensation and everything, you kind of go strictly down there to that area down here. um, so yeah, my appetite also increased. So I've noticed that I don't I do not eat my portions I used to eat anymore. I eat more. It's so easy to eat more now. I seem to have more cravings, and I always seem okay to eat something, even if I'm not that hungry. For some reason, I just feel okay to just eat something. You wanna offer me a quesadilla or something? Even if I just ate a part, I'd be like, yeah, sure, why not? So yeah. What else? An excuse on my writing stuff, guys, but this is the only way I organize myself. Alright, so after that, and this is the most, I think, important one. This is the most important process during my transition, and this is the passing and the not passing, because it became easier to tell people that I'm a dude, people that I don't know that I'm a dude, than to try to explain to them that I'm a girl. Um, and it became harder and harder to tell the people that I do know that I am a dude, because they know that I'm biologically a female. So it's that adapting process that kind of becomes a little complicated, because you start passing more as a male and not passing as a female anymore. Um, Also, it's kind of like when you're transitioning, there's a lot that come with it. Um, that comes along with those changes, and you start becoming more as a man, meaning that you start to live a little more in the life of a man, and you get to see different points of views of what it is to be a man and live in their shoes. Also, because you're not just physically transitioning, you are also mentally transitioning with those changes. So all of that is a big important role during your transition. It's important that we pay very close attention, because it could be very traumatic with a lot of people for a lot of people. um, One of the changes, sorry, yeah, one of the changes that happened during my passing and not passing stage are restrooms, right? Um, I no longer had to go to the female restrooms anymore out of respect for women and children, because I no longer look like a female, regardless of what I am. Physical and exterior looks are extremely important. Therefore, going to the ladies' restroom became more difficult for me. I started getting kicked out. So a lady called the police on me once. So I started looking more like a perv or a pedophile. So out of respect, I started using the male's restroom, which obviously, like any typical person, for the first time it becomes scary. However, which by the way, I had a really good friend of mine, Scooby. What's up, man? That he was actually there with me the very first time I walked into the guy's restroom. So that was pretty cool. He kind of told me I gotta man up, and dudes don't really care. I mean, just go in and out. I mean, if you look like a dude, everybody minds their own business, and it's true. Um, so that became a challenge at first, and I had to transition into that. Paying my bills, ordering food, stuff like that. My name is Azuma. That's my biological name, my birth name. So paying, calling on the phone, trying to pay my insurance, my cell phone bill. When I'm calling to make doctor's appointments, when I am ordering some food, for pickup, people automatically think that I'm a man, and they cannot it's hard to have to explain yourself to them that you're not a man, you're a miss, not a mister or sir or buddy, whatever they call you. Excuse me. um, so I had to start using, my name Fabian, not Zuma. And it was hard to explain when I'm paying bills that I am Zuma, that person calling. They'll start asking, well, we don't have a guy. Are you calling for Zuma? They thought I was calling on the behalf of Zuma. So I have to explain to them, no, I am Zuma, and I'm trying to make my car payment. And they kind of start having some doubts. They have to start asking you a bunch of questions to prove your identity, so it becomes a little bit challenging. Um, I even had they mixed my files in Kaiser one time when I went, because I think there was someone that had almost a similar number, insurance number, except the last number was different or something. I don't know how it happened, but they thought I was this guy. So when they came and they're talking to me as sir, this and that, we were talking about my whatever reason I was there for. I was having some complications um, in my stomach, so I was there, and they were telling me, oh, I told them I had an ultrasound, and my doctor said, oh, I don't see an ultrasound here. Did you do it at a different clinic? And I said, no, I did it here at Kaiser. That was last year. So the doctor said, you're so and so, right? And I said, no, my name is Zuma. They're like, oh, I'm sorry. So they had to find out, what, that was in my file. My name is Zuma. My preferred name is Fabian. I'm a transgender patient. So it kind of becomes quite difficult, right? So now I just call and I just say my name is Zuma, but my preferred name is Fabian, and then you let them figure out the rest. They pretty much figure out pretty easily, and it's easier for them to figure out what situation you're in and how to take care of you. Also, I've noticed that since I look more like a man, I get more looks when I'm walking around. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm more attractive, and I'm not saying that everybody looks at me, but I have noticed that more women look because they assume that I'm a man. So before, when I looked more like a female, dressed like a guy, I would get looks usually from obviously someone that was attracted to lesbians. And now when I look more like a man, there's obviously more women out there, and I'll start getting different attention. So I noticed that as well. Um, I also noticed that it was easier for men to conversate with me. If I would be next to a man, they didn't have to try to figure out how to talk to me. They didn't have to try to, you know, figure out what to say or anything like that. You just make a conversation and things became a lot easier. I never felt intimidated anymore either. For some reason, it just feels like they resemble when they look at another man. So it just becomes easier. Um, in the opposite way with women, I noticed that more women would become a little more distant, especially if it's just myself and a woman next to me. They'll sit a little farther, or they kind of just mind their own business more. And I noticed that I can't really make compliments or talk to them like the way I used to, because it looks different coming from a man to tell a girl, oh, I like your hair color. I have a thing with long hair. and I have a thing with different hair colors, and sometimes I see really cool, legit, I mean, not that I tell a lot of women that, but there was this one lady who had really cool, legit hair color. I hadn't seen it before, so I just told her, to have a cool hair color. I was with my wife, but the lady that or the girl kind of looked at me, she said thank you, kind of nervously, and then looked at my wife. And my wife made a point to me, like, listen, you look like a man to everybody's eyes. You can't just randomly say comments just like that, or maybe you can, but you have to be careful on how to say it. So I had to kind of watch my words now and give a woman their distance because they do project me as a man, a male figure. Um, yeah, so things get misinterpreted sometimes when I talk to them. Um, Something that I might be flirting, or something that I'm just trying to hit on them and they don't like it, or some people might take it as flirtatious and they might like it, and I start noticing they start acting different and flirtatious back. So I realized, like, wait, I have to make sure I'm more serious and I'm more short with my words, and try not to project that I'm trying to, I guess, hit on that person. Um, I also noticed the differences between female authority and no, I'm sorry, female privilege and male privilege that I started to notice. When you're a female, even though I dress like a man for many years of my life, but I look more like a female, my features were more feminine. I didn't realize this until now that I'm changing. When you're a female, or notice that when you're a man, females kind of tend to expect that you help them. So if you see somebody lifting something heavy and a man walks by, it's kind of expected for the man to go and help out, which I do, and I would have regardless, and I've done it before. But before, since I was also more of a female figure, um, I would get more like, be careful, don't get hurt. And now it's kind of like they see a man, he's got it, he's good, he's covered, he don't need help, and he'll ask if he does, right? Um, and for women, it's more expected to, if a man's walking by, you open the door, you let her go first. Um, it's more expected to help them, and when you're a man, it's more of like, you got it, you know. So I noticed that also, and it's been quite a huge difference. So a privilege for a woman now, it's like they're always getting help, or most of the time, not everyone, right? But also there's a slight privilege that I've noticed with men, that they seem to have sometimes, they seem to be taken more serious when you're a man and you look more like a male figure. It's like you're more stern. It kind of sucks, because if a woman goes by and they say complain about something, they should take him serious regardless. But for some reason, when a man goes by and they say something, they kind of, I don't know, they take it more serious. It's kind of weird, and it's not always like that. Or maybe a man, biological man, might not notice it. Maybe a biological female might not notice it. But I've been in both shoes, and I've kind of noticed slight differences. So yeah. Um, also, stage number 5 is my relaxed stage. Um, I mean, you are who you are, regardless of anything, right? But it looks different. Like what I'm doing right now, um, it's just being myself. But if I had a feminine figure, like before I started transitioning, and I looked more like a female, it might look a little bit different, maybe more feminine. So sometimes you kind of tend to want to try and act a little more tough. But not because you're trying to be like a man, but mainly because we're trying to avoid more female sensitive looking type, that we're trying, like, we don't like our femininity, that we try to do so much to avoid it. Like, we try hard to to get that away. But when you already look like a man, you don't need to try. Whatever you do, I mean, you're a man, and they don't, then that's it. On the exterior, you know, um, I know exactly for a fact, that I'm both biologically female, and I will never be a biological man. We're male, we already know that. We're not here to argue about that. I'm talking about the exterior, right? Um, it's kind of like if I do this, if I do this, right? And I look more like a female, they'll be like, oh, you do that because you're a girl, you're a lesbian, but you still like a girl. That's why you do that. But if I do this and I look like a dude, it's just kind of like, I don't know. They don't really say anything. They'll probably just say you're more feminine dude or whatever, but they don't say, oh, it's because you're a female. You know, it kind of just you don't have to try hard. So it becomes like a relaxed stage because when you've transitioned, you kind of just feel free. Like I could just be myself without having to try, and I look like a man. I don't have to try to show how I feel inside because it resembles like I physically look what I feel inside. You know what I mean? So there's no more need to try. It's just the relaxed stage. And lastly, it's my health. Health is the last stage that I've noticed so far. My health and the negative parts of testosterone, which is I gain weight. I have high cholesterol. I have thyroid problems now, and the negative is that you're going through puberty and you're going through menopause at the same time because your ovaries are no longer gonna be producing as much testosterone. I mean estrogen as before because you're putting in so much testosterone. So you're going through menopause and at the same time you're going through puberty because yeah, like a puberty as a guy. A guy puberty that you shift, your body's shifting, your body's growing, your body's changing, and that's a huge, very difficult process. Also, my blood count is slightly higher, which is normally in men, but on a female, um, it causes more fatigue, maybe muscle pain, and hard to sleep sometimes, like sleep disorders and things like that. It's a lot of health risk factors when you're taking testosterone as a biological female because obviously having a high dosage of testosterone when your body's meant to have high dosage of estrogen, there's a health risk factor. So it becomes easier for FTMs, which is obviously female to males, transgenders like us, to become sick, to become obese. So we have to be very careful with our health, and I haven't. I've kind of just been eating normal, and I realize that I kind of can't. I have to eat healthy, and I have to live a healthy, active, strong life for me to be able to get the best of testosterone instead of getting the bad of it, which is getting fat, cholesterol, and everything, and all that stuff. So I want to live long. So yeah. So far, those are the last stages within this year. I'm not sure what's coming up next. I will post an update and see if I come across different stages, but this is what I have right now. Um, my overall thought is that it's worth the roller coaster. Trust me, man, it's worth the roller coaster. I found peace within myself, and I came to realize that Fabian is just a better version of Zuma. They're not different people. I'm still myself, same personality. Maybe just projects differently because I'm look different, but I'm the same person. And Zuma was just a unconfident version of me, a lost soul, and Fabian is just a confident, happier version of me. You know, so yeah. And now for my recommendations, if you're looking to transition or if you're transitioning and you're struggling, I really recommend that you get top surgery early on your stage of your transitioning process. I had my top surgery within 3 months of my transition. Took my first testosterone shot on April, and on July I had my top surgery. So that was the best thing that could have happened to me because I was big breasted. If you're someone that has more breasts, it's probably a lot easier for you. You might not even need top surgery, but when you have big breasts, it becomes harder and could be traumatic when you're transitioning, changing it to a man and having boobs. It just becomes more traumatic. So I recommend that you get your top surgery early on your transition process. Also, I recommend that that you speak to a therapist before you start your transition, and then during the whole time that you're transitioning until you completely find yourself. Because trust me, it helps you a lot whenever you feel lost, to know that someone that is professional will be there to professionally guide you through the right process instead of getting bad advices, you know. So I've been having my therapist since before I started. It's been a year, so I've been having a therapist for over a year already. um, I also recommend that you join groups or the transgender individuals, because they will help you. It feels good that you're not the only one going through stuff, you know. Other people are, and we help each other out. um, Also, be patient, do not rush it. Your body will thank you. I recommend that you take that you take gel instead of shots. Somebody might tell you something different, whatever you prefer. Personally, for me, gel is so much better than shots, because it might feel like I am going a little bit slower on my transition, but my body is also changing slower, and I don't have those up and down roller coasters anymore, because I'm doing gel every single day, so my levels are staying the same instead of going up and then going down and then up again and then going down. So I do recommend gel. It's a lot better. um, and don't get scared because, oh, someone's gonna touch it. After 5 hours, you can pretty much take it off. It takes about 5 hours for your body to absorb what it needs from the gel. So after 5 hours, you can wash it off if you want, go to the beach, whatever you want to do. So you'll be fine. Um, Also, listen to your doctors. Do not take more testosterone than what you have been prescribed for reasons. If you end up taking more than what you need, than what your body needs, then it will actually start turning it into estrogen, and you're going to be reversing the process. So just listen to your doctor, take your labs, take them serious, and if they say take 2 pumps or 3 pumps of gel, or zero point 0.5 mg's of testosterone in your shots, or 0.25 every week, take it, you know. Also, do not take things personal. Trust me, we don't just have to expect for people to understand or transition. We should also understand that it's hard for people to adapt and transition with us. You know, they have to transition with us, adapt with our changes. It becomes challenging. So a lot of people don't really mean to offend you or offend me, offend us. A lot of people are curious, and we should be open to questions. Um, and if we don't want to open a door for questions, then let's not, be putting out there that we're transgenders. And if you don't want to open up yourself for questions, but everybody's curious, and I think it's normal. People don't really mean to offend you. You know, if they mispronounce your, I'm sorry, if they call you her instead of him, they don't really mean it in that certain way. You know, it just correct them, and that's it. And don't let that change you of what you really feel inside. It doesn't make you any different, or any worse. um, Also, if someone does purposely tries to offend you, just remember that the root of the problem is not that you're different. The root of the problem is just that there's a lot of people that cannot accept differences, regardless of what the difference is. So you're not the problem, and it's not that you're different. It's just how it is sometimes. People can't. There's some people that can't accept differences. That's the main root of the problem, regardless of what it is. Okay, so yeah, that's it, guys. That's all I have for you. I hope that you like my video. I hope that this is helpful to you. And if it is, please let me know by liking my video and subscribing. And if you have any questions, any comments, please feel free to comment below. And then I will see you guys next time. Peace.